I used to like hearing what Dr. Jordan Peterson said.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I wanted to speak to him, but now he's not well, so he's stopped producing content. He's some sort of sickness. I don't know if you guys have ever heard anything he said or cared for this type of stuff, but I'm not alone in enjoying what he had to say. And one of the things he was saying a few years ago is reminding people that human nature is such that if you had been around in Nazi Germany in the 1930s, you would have been on board with the Nazi program. You would have been there, like Hitler's willing executioners. Heard of this idea?
Yep.
There was a movie they used to show kids, based on a book I think called The Wave, right?
Yeah.
How it's easy to get people to go along with certain cult-like political movements. That's one thing. I'm not talking about the cultish aspect. I'm talking about just the banal aspect. I'm okay with the whole eliminationist anti-Semitism. He's warning people you can end up like that, and most people will end up like that. And that's what we're seeing, by the way, in the Western world. We could use the usual talking heads in America as sort of a barometer, a gauge of such an attitude. Basically, what happened? You have real flaming anti-Semites, the real ones who are spewing all sorts of nonsense, the real hate and the real conspiratorial thinking and the real, blame the Jews part, right? You have that. And you have regular people who are told, hey, don't you see that this is real Nazism, like right in your face? It's like, well, there's my friends, we have to consider maybe they have a good point. You can see even comedians, they've joined the usual anti-Semitic bandwagon, believing anti-Semitic libels. It's a hop, skip, and a jump away from someone realizing, well, I don't like that there are certain Israeli politicians are corrupt. And Israel conducted a war, and they genocided because they said that a long time. Israel conducted a terrible war against innocents. And there are certain prominent Jewish people who are very annoying, and I hear them all the time. Right? So that leads to Jew hatred. Yeah, there you go. I don't like the Jews. Very easy. It's very easy to become a Nazi and get on board with this. If you'd apply that standard to any other ethnic or religious group, you'd find, there's a few, criminals from X background and all that, and they have a homeland where their politicians are corrupt. So, now I'm just going to hate everybody. But that's what's happening right now. So we have to be aware of that. But you see it happening. Everybody's becoming a Nazi, which is, I think, a good summation. We were discussing last week that the discussion itself between those two internet figures, Michael and Rabbi Schaff, right? And I got to converse with some of them, and I was asked to remind people that the Karedi community does a lot that's what I call tzibur conscious. He was trying to tell me it's Klal Yisrael conscious. We have to point out that all the Gemachim, okay, Hatzalah, the Lechever Kadisha, Zaka, what else? Bikur Cholim. Everything's all Haredi, by the way, right? Yeah, but I pointed out, I said, I think it's tzibur conscious. When I said Klal Yisrael conscious, I meant the national mitzvahs. Make a state, have a country, build a Beis HaMikdash, appoint a king, Sanhedrin, those types of things. They haven't gotten used to that yet, and that they're unaware of. Of course, also an army, Milchemes Mitzvah. Like I said, they deny that essential idea. I'm not saying everybody does it. Well,
most of Am Yisrael is kind of like...
Yeah, most of Am Yisrael. But I was saying that the definition of certain Charediism is not Klal Yisrael conscious. Okay, but they are very tzibur conscious. We have to point that out, which is why I don't like people. I don't like the whole modern day media / government campaign to try to vilify and demonize the Charedi community. That whole thing, like, they're not serving. We need more people to serve. I think we do need people to serve in the army. But I also don't think that they're using their manpower properly. I think people were trying to say this before the war. They have to use the army professionally. They have to use what they have better. Not just say, oh, we need a lot more people, and we're going to subject soldiers to unethically dangerous circumstances, which we can avoid. Right? Isn't that the current president of the United States is conducting war? Let's be straight about that. He's conducting war. He's conducted war against Iran. He's conducted war against Venezuela right now. These are acts of war. But he has a policy. Don't bring my soldiers into harm's way. Just attack them from far away. By the way, how many soldiers were harmed fighting in Iran this previous war? None. They fought. Why can't we fight Iran? Why can't we fight all the others just like we fought Iran? And why don't we destroy Iran to the end? I don't know, but you understand there is a way to take care of your enemies right now with technology and Jewish know-how, which does not require endangering soldiers. And then you wouldn't have so much of a need for them. You just need some very good pilots, some very smart rockets and missiles. But whatever, that's lost on people. I'm not in charge, and no one listens to me, so I think they should.